Hey, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Or mostly good morning. So I think we waited for a few minutes. So let's get it started. So yeah. So to start with, so today we'll set up a small agenda for today's session. It's only about an interactive session to understand uh, what is the things before DevOps, by the way. So how this DevOps has came into picture. And finally, the very important one, the tools that we learn over here in this particular training. And finally, the Q&A options. Basically, like at the end, by the way, we'll talk leisurely what all the weak questions we have. So we'll take it up leisurely, by the way. So just to complete this particular presentation in time, I will just hold all your questions till the next 35 minutes. I'll try to go through the 3 points that is listed there. And then I'll take up the questions if you have any, and we'll have a leisure way to talk about it. Okay. And yeah, let's get it started. So whoever is not aware about myself, so myself is Raghu, and I'm the trainer for this particular training, and I'm having total 16 years of experience as a software engineer. So been delivering the trainings from past 14 years as a part-time, and most of my experience goes for enterprise companies, and especially that to be the last decade is financial related products I've been working on, or companies I've been working on, like mostly into the banking and the payment related uh, applications in enterprise companies. Hope my experience, whatever we deal there, or what I've been having, so that experience will definitely help us in delivering this particular content better. So that's a very small introduction about myself. And to start with, so let's get into the agenda. And today's agenda we're talking about, so we wanted to understand what is the things that we have before DevOps. Okay. So before DevOps, we are having still the software industry, right? So then where I'm getting this particular job. So if I'm looking towards a job as a software engineer, so where I've been getting this job. The job which I'm getting is mostly from the software development lifecycle. Whoever the companies is making the products from years, and whoever has been doing it right now also, so they are actually giving us the job, a software engineer job, as in the part of software development lifecycle. So in the part of software development lifecycle, so there are companies who has evolved from very basic things to the modern way. The best example I can talk over here is I can go for Microsoft, by the way. So many of you may not be having an experience on dealing with the Microsoft operating systems, like let's say 95 or 98 maybe. Okay. So back in days, they used to sell the software. So they used to go on, used to have a store, or you do a online purchase, and they used to ship a CD like this. And inside, behind the CD, so there is going to be a key, by the way, or printed on somewhere. So this is how you get it. So somewhere, I think he masked it, by the way, but here is the key. So this is the product you've been purchasing, by the way. And slowly after Windows 95, 98, after Windows XP, okay, so they have so decided, I think this is way is not the right way, maybe according to the needs of the market. They moved on, you download the software directly from the internet, the ISO file, and you keep it in your pen drive or CD drive, wherever it is. And after that, they were sending the keys over emails, by the way. You buy a product, you were getting the key, same key. Again, they just digitalized this, and so they were giving it on the email. And slowly again they moved on again. This is a story we're talking on again 2007, 2008, that time. Okay. And after that, okay, I think Windows 10 came into the picture. Okay. After Windows 8, and Windows 10 is a major one again. Once the Windows 10 came into the picture, so their model is completely changed. It's mostly like subscription based, like you can buy the Windows, so from them, so you might get it, like you register your email address and all to them. So it's all subscription model. And today, even that is even moved on, and they were giving the uh, browser-based operating system. So that means Windows has become like Windows 365, that your machine can be accessed anywhere irrespective of your desktop, whatever it is, your machine is somewhere central. All your things are going to be central. You can have a bare minimum system. So maybe I can simply go with a basic, like let's say, I can go with a iPad or basic, what do you call them? Tablet also with me, but I can access my system wherever I want. Okay, so to that extent they have taken it. So they are providing the things as a subscription model. Okay, today mostly the trend is subscription model. So they don't actually allow you to install the software in your desktop, and then so they don't give you the keys and installation. It is all legacy gone. Okay, are going away. All right, now it's all coming up is the subscription model. So now you can see this if I click on compare plans. So they're telling me, so per month, if I make this particular payment, no upfront, so buying of the hardware, software and all. So monthly basis, you can just do that. So whenever, as long as you need it, you use it. As long as you don't need it, you leave it. Okay, to that extent, they have taken. So in one ways, it is better for some people, and one ways maybe different for other people, but that's okay. They're giving the model like this as well. Now, this is what is the trend in the market right now. So the software development lifecycle, whatever we're talking about today, majorly going on the web-based applications. The type of applications so they are doing is web-based. So that means these applications are hosted somewhere. Now we are accessing this Windows machine. It is actually running in some server somewhere. Okay. So, or if I'm accessing gmail.com, that piece of software is actually hosted in somewhere in the systems, and you're accessing over the web browser. So this is the major thing that is going on in the software development lifecycle. Okay. And in this particular area, okay, so, or if we talk about these particular applications, now earlier these applications used to be managed through some kind of a approach called as monolith application. Okay, that means all the components I just cook as one, I make it as one big piece of software. Okay, a bulky one, which is we call it as a monolith. And now today that is not helping it out because okay, so they need to come with a small feature releases. Okay, now you take a Microsoft operating system only, they're too much agile now that you get continuous updates. They will push 1 week, 2 weeks, they'll continuously push some update. Or you take your mobile applications, you're continuously getting the updates. So why they are doing that? So because they are agile, or agile we'll talk about later again, but they are microservices based. They are making the features are coming, so slowly, or developing month by month, week by week. They're adding the features, and that's where they're pushing the updates. And you've been getting the updates, quite frequently. So this is the reason majorly. Now, when we talk about these microservices of making an application, now when we talk about the big applications, by the way, so now the things is at a scale here. Okay. Now we are talking about the things at a scale. So let's not imagine ourselves that, the life is going to be too much comfortable around the DevOps, by the way. So let's set our context, by the way. Things are going to be huge in the market. Okay. So, and you can deal with that. It's not a big deal as long as you are trying, right? So let's try to understand from some of the applications that we know, maybe Netflix, by the way. The moment I search for Netflix, how many microservices I have, I'm getting a response like 1,000 servers, 1,000 services. And how many microservices that this Twitter have, they are telling 1,200. And how many services we have in Uber, you're getting 1,200, 2,200 services, right? And even you go to the manufacturing industry like Mercedes-Benz, and we're asking like, how many Kubernetes clusters they are running up. So they're running 900 plus Kubernetes clusters. Okay. Which is to power up some of their compute loads, by the way. Okay. So like this, okay, the services, whatever we're talking about, the microservices, those are huge, by the way. Okay. So in a big companies, okay, it is very huge. Now where I'm currently working on, so we have almost like 400 plus microservices which are there. Okay. Not only microservices, including monolith microservices all together. Okay. If the monoliths also been cut into microservices, it will easily cross 100,000, by the way. Okay. So, but yeah, so some monolith, because we work for enterprise, there are legacy systems still running. Okay. So that's fine, but still we have huge amount of, so services, which is there. It's not just like one or two that you deal with. Okay. So one or two dealing with is even not even a small company is dealing with one or two. Okay. So that is how things are going to be. So you need to understand. Now, when you have such big projects, by the way, now we're not talking about engineering world, We're not talking about 1 floor, 2 floors, by the way. We're talking about a huge, okay, huge projects, right? Now, 1,000 means I'm talking about 1,000 microservices, 1,000 floors, 2,000 services they're talking about. So that means 2,000 floors. Now, don't you think that, you require a planning? If you run one microservice, you don't really require any planning there, isn't it? So anyone can construct 1 floor building, but coming to the 100 floor, 200 floor building, you need a proper planning, a lot of engineering, which is involved out there. Okay. And in order to achieve these big projects, even for the software developers also, or especially in the software development area, not only to applies to you, it applies to all the people. We follow certain methods or methodologies or proven methodologies, okay, to achieve our goals, by the way, right? And those particular things are called as waterfall model and agile model, the way you work. Okay, waterfall tells you have to do this to achieve your product. Agile tells is you have to follow these things to get, okay, to do this. So something like, waterfall model is like a traffic thing. Okay, so maybe you are in India, so let's say they'll tell you go on the left side of the road. When there is a red signal, you stop. Okay, like some guidance is there, right? Or some learning is there. So the same thing, waterfall models tell something. Okay, you take these approaches, you will reach your goal. The same thing like agile also. Okay, so you follow this, and you will try to you follow this, and you'll try to reach your goal. That's what they'll try to tell. Now, in these particular methodologies, by the way, so there are teams which is involved actually going to work. Now, in that same software development lifecycle, let's talk about the teams who can work on web-based applications. Now, when we talk about the web-based applications, you try to see here, there are people who gather the requirements. So first of all, if I want to make a digital product, first of all, I need to know about what all the things which is involved. For an example, I wanted to, okay, so build a banking system. Okay, for a banking system, the essential part is ledger, by the way. What is the amount initially, what is being added, what is subtracted? A very basic ledger only is one thing that is needed. Now the ledger is there. So now accounts are there on top of that. Now, what is the requirement? A user needs to be logging in. So a login service. And while he logging in, OTP matters, like OTP service. Okay. Now, once you log in, it should show your balance, maybe a balance query service. So maybe on the landing page, it can show you, right? And they'll be showing you some statement. So then some statement service. So these are all the requirements, so who will tell these business people will tell, okay. And they don't go to the service level. I maybe extended that. So they'll tell all these requirements. Okay. So then the requirements, okay, is gathered by the business analyst. There's a person called as business analyst. And so let me go to the actual thing. So business analyst, and the business analyst analyzes all the things. Now, understanding the business requirements, there are architects will be there in the company. So there are people called as enterprise architects, EA roles will be there. Okay. Those guys will design the things like, so, okay, this is the requirement. So now let's say someone is asking a ledger service. Okay, ledger, which database is better, by the way, for ledger purpose? Okay, SQL database, some SQL database. Now, what is our scale, by the way? So we're talking about, let's say, 1 million customers, 2 million customers. Okay, Oracle database better. Or it is coming like telling like, so we can have next to 5 years, we are targeting like, so maybe 0.1 million customers. Then he will understand, okay, maybe at this point of time, so this load can be handled even by a small database. Let's say I'll go to MySQL or I'll go for Postgres. The designs will happen. Okay. So he's a year old who is sitting out there and dealing with that. And once he make a blueprint of how the project should look like, and then comes to the developer to start developing it. The developer, the software development people, so whoever develops it. So they also pick it up certain roles. Certain requirements, they may go with Python. Some requirements mostly goes with Java. Most of the time it's Java, and some Node.js, some Python. It all depends upon the requirement. Exactly, they may not go with the same one. So it depends upon the need and all. So they can go with any of the programming language. They can pick it up. And the next one is testing, by the way. So once they make the product, it goes to the QA. QA will find out any issues, bugs and all. So they will evaluate, and everything is fine. It is hand over to the operations team to run it as a web application, by the way. Now, in order to run as a web application, so what do I require? I require a data center. So to keep my servers, I require a data center. So there's a DC team comes into picture, and those guys will procure and keep your servers ready. And then the OS team will come into picture. So they'll install some OS on the system and maintain some of the OS related things. Okay. So once the OS team is ready, so someone needs to host the application. A middleware team will come into picture. So application teams will be there. So he will deploy it. And after, while deploying, by the way, this application require database. So now the DBA comes into picture. Some other servers will be created for DB. He will install DB and deals with the DB requirements. Okay. Now we start running our application. Our data is getting generated. Data is very important to store. So that's where the storage role will come into picture. So because the data is very important and the storage is growing, you require a storage team to maintain it. And so here you are actually storing some sensitive data. You require some backup, not sensitive, I can call it up, like data under some compliance or some guidelines, by the way. So they will go and store, so store it in a tape drive, take the backup continuously, take it in a tape drive and store it safely. Even in the worst case, like your digital disks corrupts, by the way, so you have a magnetic tapes, you can retrieve the data all the time. Okay. So those will be there. And all these are devices, by the way. These are all devices. Okay. And to connect all these particular devices, you require a networking team comes into picture. Okay. And along with us, there is a security teams also will be there, who ensures the application is having a security which is getting hosted. There's a security scans and things like that. Okay. So now AppSec and InfoSec team will come into picture. IT security team will be there. Okay. So, and finally, the support team will be there, who does the monitoring and all. So these teams comes into picture. This is what is a typical things were happening in the waterfall model. Okay. Now, where this, if you understand all roles I have mentioned, but where is this DevOps is actually coming from? Now, that's where we'll be going with the second point of agenda, basically, like how this particular DevOps has been evolved, by the way, right? Now, you need to understand the DevOps coming into picture because of the agileness or agile, by the way, because in agile, in waterfall model, you are giving the things at once to all these teams and you are going for a maintenance. They rarely give an update, by the way, but agile is like a cycle. Okay, a very short cycle, 1 week, 2 week cycles also will be there. Or majorly it is going to be 2 cycles or even one cycle, a 1 week cycle or 4 week cycle. Like that depends upon the need, they will set it up in the organization. Now that means they're going to make a product every 2 weeks. Okay, now to get into that engine mode, now if you have those many teams, actually it's pretty difficult to, so deal with that. And also there is a transformation in the market. Now you don't really require all those particular teams and you can still deal with the minimal amount of team member. Why? Because most of the work has been went as a cloud offerings. Now cloud becomes a part of any organization most of the time. And now you as a DevOps engineer, you deal with your microservices to run, plus you deal with your cloud. Now our role we are talking about is a DevSecOps engineer, and we are going to deal with, even the security of the application as well. We'll ensure we have security of the application as well. So this is how the DevSecOps engineer will come as dealing with the microservices, dealing with the cloud, and ensuring the AppSec and InfoSec of the applications, which are getting deployed in the systems, by the way. Okay. Now that's where, if you look at the roles and responsibilities also of a DevOps engineer, so it will come like managing your infrastructure, cloud, basically. You don't do it manually. Okay. You do it through code. And that's where IAC comes into picture. And what is the next thing that you'll do? So you take all the time the QA developed. So your role, if you see this, you always get a tested product and that gets into the systems, right? That comes to you, right? So that means you are going to follow certain practices, okay, to deliver it in a better way. Okay. A CI/CD will come into picture. And finally, okay, so what you are going to do majorly as a part of your role is automation and scripting. So any repetitive task, okay, that you need to automate. So that's your major role as well. And plus fourth is also that it's a DevOps. I think I need to change this as DevSecOps. The fourth one is you ensure you deliver our application without any issues and continuously monitor any threats. All those particular things will be there. Okay. So this is how we are going to do that, right? So that's where these are the roles and responsibilities of your DevOps engineer. Now that comes the second part of our today's agenda. Like DevOps has been evolved with this. Now DevOps as a role, it has been evolved, and so now what he worked, by the way, is majority of the tools to achieve the agenda. Now, what is the thing that we are going to talk about now here is what is the tools that you learn, by the way, and why are we learning only these tools? Why not other tools? Is a discussion. Okay, the third point of the agenda. Now, in order to deal with this, I also have the same problem that what to teach. However, you are a newcomer here and you are looking for what to learn. And also at the same time, we have our own problem. So saying that what to teach, right? Maybe I'm working for one project. I may be not doing everything, by the way. And if I go and teach whatever I know, maybe that is not needed in the market, right? So I need a correction. Okay. So that what is going on in the market for me also is a problem. And for you also, it is a problem. So now to address this particular problem, so there is a website called as roadmap.sh, and we'll go for that particular website and we'll understand. So this is a third-party website only. So it doesn't belongs to any institute or someone. So it belongs to a community, and the community is also a big community that it is standing at a 7th place in the GitHub. Okay. So where 1.5 million users are there, by the way. Okay. And a lot of contributors. So 35,000 contributors are there, or especially who is interested in that community, right? So this is very very vibrant community that going to help you in developing or understanding, by the way, so how to become something. So there are a lot of roles, by the way. So if you want to become a front-end developer, they'll tell you what are the things you should learn. Okay. Now the same way, if you're a DevOps guy, what you should learn, by the way. So now this is the steps for both DevOps, SRE roles also, or any operations role or any engineer role you can consider. This is what is we have. Okay. So these are the tools that they're telling. Now they are covering this in a vertical, by the way. Each and everything they have vertical, they have one vertical. And in the vertical, they'll tell you 1 or 2 suggestions. And what we are going to do is we are going to pick up one suggestion from them and we are going to convert that into our syllabus. Okay. So that's where show the URL I pinged on the chat. And so that URL is our syllabus, by the way. So which has been picked up from this particular one, and this syllabus has been given. Now this is only a DevOps one. They don't have the DevSecOps one, and I will so I am been adding my own security part here. So that's the only thing that you will not see there. But otherwise, the rest of the things is being pulled from them only. Okay, learning programming language, you have something called as Python in our syllabus. Operating system, so we are having a Linux with RHEL, and we are going to talk about Linux that covers all these particular things. And we have a Bash shell scripting in our syllabus. You have a version control systems, Git and GitHub in our syllabus. You have a containers, Docker in our syllabus. You have a project that covers all these particular concepts like networking protocols and how to set up an application. By the way, the project covers all these things. And you have a cloud provider, which is Azure in this particular training. We'll go with Azure. And serverless, by the way. So we are going to cover with Azure functions in this particular one, since it is Azure. And so provisioning part, we are actually going to go for Terraform. And the configuration management, we are having Ansible in the syllabus. CI/CD tools we are having is GitHub Actions, and also Jenkins given as an extra things. That's okay. I'll talk about it later. So GitHub Actions we have, and secret management we are having Vault. Infrastructure monitoring we are having Prometheus and Grafana, and we have log management, which is Elasticstack, and we have a container orchestration tool, which is Kubernetes, and we have an application monitoring. These guys did not give any suggestion. Okay, so it's very hard to judge. And so they have given everything. So that's our everything, by the way, at least top maybe. Out of that, I picked up New Relic here because New Relic offers certain things for free of cost. So it is easy for you to learn by the, I mean, and just like, so practice you get for free. So that's where I picked up New Relic. And go for an artifact management, we have Artifactory, and GitOps, we have Argo CD in the syllabus. Service Mesh, we have Istio. Okay. And finally, the design patterns that you learn anyhow as a part of the cloud training, by the way. Okay. So these are all the things that is being covered in the syllabus. And apart from that, we're going to deal with the security. Okay. We talk about SaaS tools, we talk about DAS tools, we talk about data in rest, data at transit. Okay. All the vulnerability scanning and all. So we'll talk about, including service mesh, we'll try to talk about here. And finally, the Python also is there. So this is how our syllabus has been designed, and we are going to learn from top down. It starts from Linux. We'll go with this. Okay. So how do we do that? Here is basically, if I go to any completed batch, by the way, so we take up after completing the Linux, we are going to take up the project, and all the project problems we are going to list down in an organization. So however, they derive a backlog, we'll also derive a backlog listing down all the problems, by the way. Okay, like this. So problems are in red colors. Okay. Now what I'll do is, by end of the training, I will make sure all the things are being covered, and we are going to convert everything as a green. So with all the tools that you're going to learn in, each and every problem that we have, by the way, is something will be addressed in the training. Okay. So that is how we are going to learn in our training, by the way. This is about the syllabus perspective. And the last but not least, so what we have as a part of this particular training is, so we have something called as a lab support. Every day, 1.5 hour, morning 6 to 7:30, there is going to be a live session. And after the session, okay, every day from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. So the time has picked up from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. So just to make sure that we cover most of the people timings, so which is in India, US, and other countries as well. So 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. continuously the lab session will run. Okay. And during weekends, it is going to be morning 6 to evening 9. Continuously, it will run all the 7 days a week. So we'll run a labs Zoom session again there. So where you can come by and you can always ask your extra questions that you did not got in the training, or you're doing some practice. Okay, you got some new questions, or even you're stuck in some practice. You can always come by and clear your things. Okay, so that's about the things which we offer. And along with that, in the cloud, by the way, we offer some customized things, so which will help you in fast tracking the learnings, by the way, lab setup and all especially. So that is the one thing. And also apart from the support, by the way, on the training perspective, so we'll give you a big project. This training goes with a big project. And knowing that so the things are complex, we'll take an extra mile to build the complexity with the big project. And the videos is going to be lifetime access, and you get a resume preparation access. And also from Join DevOps, you will be having a HR related things like, so forwarding you certain jobs and all. So they have, we have portal out there. So people out there will help you on that particular part as well. Okay. Those are anyhow minimal things. The big chunk over here is the content. As long as you hold the content, rest everything is just, few minutes, you can sort it out, by the way. Okay. So that's where we'll offer all these particular things anyhow. No worries on that particular part. And that's mostly about the third part of the agenda I wanted to cover. And coming to the last part, so which is a Q&A, by the way. So if you have any questions, by the way, so you can go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll get to know that you have a question. I'll come to you one by one slowly, and I'll discuss, your question to answer you. And the other thing is, so we have the session starting from tomorrow. The timing is 6 a.m. IST, by the way. So same link, everything is same. So just the timing is morning 6 in the morning. Okay. So that's all from my side. If you have any questions, so please go ahead. We'll take it up one by one. And also just go on, make sure you ask the question properly, you raise your hand. You keep chat in some context, I read in some context. Okay. So the words can be misleading. So better you raise your hand, clear your question by talking. Don't try to keep it in the chat. And I may understand something and answer. Let's get on to the proper. Let's get on to the proper understanding. We'll understand your question properly. We'll tell you in a proper. Okay. Please go ahead if you have any questions. In your Zoom, by the way, you have a reaction, and inside the reaction, you'll find a raise hand option. You have to click on that so that I'll come to know that you have a question. I'll come to you one by one. Okay, please go ahead. Not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know, you will start with Azure or with Linux? You start with the cloud.
So if you have seen that mind map, by the way, so Azure starts, okay, at the very
Okay.
starting. It goes through across the trend. We don't do a topic by topic way of learning, and we don't keep a pull stop to a topic and go to the next topic. So we don't do that way. Okay, so you go to your
Oh,
work also. Okay, now you cannot say that one day I'll work only on shell scripting, one day I'll work on Kubernetes. You'll not work that way. What is the requirement what is the requirement you have? You pick up everything out there and you work on it. And your learning also has to be the same way to understand the real-time scenarios. So that's where we go problem by problem. I shown the list of problems. So the problem by problem. And while this problem comes into picture, so this is a problem you're dealing for the first time. You need to know about some tool. So we'll talk about the tool and immediately come back to the problem and we start addressing the problem. Okay, that's where. So the learnings is going to be, let's not look that way. So maybe the flow goes this manner, but let's say shell scripting I have completed here. Now, for example, some reason of the security, I need to implement some automation. I'm free to pick up the shell scripting. I'll not say that, so shell scripting is done. I'll not use here. I'll not go here, right?
okay.
So it
Got
is
you.
going to be, once we cross the topic, we learned it, and at any point of time we need it, we'll use it. So that's where every
Okay.
topic will be till there to the ending. That's how it works. Yes.
And the timings was 6 a.m. IST every day, right?
Monday to Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I am in US, it is good for me. Like this time, it is hard to connect. So,
Yeah, understood. So it is going to be 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time,
okay.
Sunday to Thursday for you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's my question.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
So I see Python and shell scripting. So do we need to write code like a developer or what?
See, writing a code is not called as developer. Okay. So everyone will write the code. Even if you go for a newspaper, also he'll write a code only, right? He'll type the things. Whoever is typing characters is a code. Okay. It can be functionally that you send an instruction to the program. Maybe you call it as a logical way. You can consider that as a code kind of a thing, right? So now, I think you're in a wrong perception. Who writes the code is a developer. First thing, that is what I wanted to correct you. Everyone writes the code in the world. So whoever deals with the system. So you are going to feed right from starting everything top down. By the way, every tool you have to write the code. You have to feed the systems. So in order to system to do the work. Yes. I'm not sure. Not able to hear you.
Yeah, okay, got it.
I am not satisfied with my answer. If you are satisfied, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, at least I am not satisfied with my answer, which I gave, because I kept a logical point so that you'll ask the next level question, but you told you're clear. So you're on mute. Okay. So the context of the thing is we write the code. So the developer write the code, he develop applications. We write the code, we write for automation. Okay. And also each and every tool that you're going to learn needs to be feeded with certain information. Okay. Then only the tool will work, right? So now you go to an ATM, by the way. So you insert an ATM, then only ATM can work. You're feeding a card to make it work, by the way. Now all these programs, what you are going to work on, okay, you have to feed with your input. That means you have to take a document and you write it. Okay. So I mean, some characters you're calling as English, and some for, I mean, some characters you are forming and you're calling it as a code, but I don't call it, that's what I'm doing. At the core, I don't see that as a code. It's a logic you are writing, right? So even if a movie guy who is writing a movie script also, it's a logic only. He can't write just whatever the way he wants, right? So he has to feed into the people. He will, okay, any movie, what he will do, he will give an introduction to the characters. Okay, a good guy shown like a good behavior, bad guy shown with a bad behavior. He's trying to register in your mind. He's feeding you, right? He's feeding you the information that this fellow is bad, this fellow is good. Okay, then he's trying to take you from there, right? So system also, it is the same thing. So you have to tell to the system that this is what I want, this is what I want. Okay, all the things you have to write it in a text format, and you write it. Okay, it a logical text. Okay, so don't think coding is so difficult thing. Coding always comes into picture when you know something to do. If someone want to write a movie, so if someone want to write a movie story, so something has to burn in his mind. Okay, convert it into a thought, and that finally get into a paper writing a story, right? Or it a text document in the system. It will be written by the way, isn't it? So that's where, okay, so it is still same as long as you know what to do, by the way. So coding is just about telling what you want, right? It's very simple only. Okay. Yeah. Not able to hear you, Anvesh.
Still,
Yeah. Now it's
so Raghu, in the last slide there, where I can see that after completing the course, like the students will promote to for the job opportunities, right? So,
Mhm.
so where like the here the left hand side bottom.
Yeah.
So as I'm already working as a IT guy in the market from last 5 years experience. So now is there any kind of support for us also, like?
It's for everyone, by the way. It's not only like for 0 years experience or someone. It's for everyone. The opportunity is relevant to you. Probably you can pick it up. As simple as.
Understand. And so these demo sessions only for 1 week, or how it would be?
Yeah. So 1 week we are keeping it open for people to decide, by the way. So just to give them comfort on understanding. That's it. So, but ideally most of the people will start paying. That's okay. But yeah, so the open sessions will be there for the first week.
Got it. And for the syllabus, like, will you start one by one, or else like will go with the flow? Like, for example, if you're doing something related to that syllabus, you're going to teach something, and we are going to do that. Or else, like, is there any step by step format? First Linux, next Azure, next shell scripting, next Terraform, like that.
We'll go and solve the problem by problem. Okay. See, first of all, if you are learning Terraform, why are you learning Terraform? You used the word Terraform. Why do you use Terraform?
To make infrastructure automation.
So you want to make infrastructure automation. So that means there should be a requirement to automate, or with
Yes, obviously.
requirement. See, there is always a learning difference when you know something and doing it, or without knowing something, learning it, right? I can tell you all the 10 options which is there in Terraform, but will you get a clarity that why are you learning it? That is your foundation of your education, right? So 4 years or maybe 16 years, you've been taught everything, by the way, right from everything. But you don't know when you actually really come to the out of your graduation, when you actually come out of the company, by the way, you're unfit for everything, isn't it? Because you have been always gaining the theoretical content, by the way, right? But practically you don't know really. For an example, you learned a subject called as trigonometry, right? As an example, in mathematics, do you know where are you using right now in your job?
No.
But why did you learn it then, right? So
Yes.
that's where we flip it, by the way. So it's not the right way to work out. Maybe for academics is a different story. And okay, so trigonometry, anyhow, you've been using the same. I mean, you've been using, it's all about the thought process. Like the same problem can be addressed in multiple ways. Is a trigonometry, one dimension of the solution, or one dimension to the trigonometry is multi-solution. Okay, so that means like any problem can be achieved with multiple different ways, in a way, logically. So now coming back to the point, by the way, we flip that, by the way. So now we start with the project. We have a hell lot of problems. and dealing with that particular, I'll drive you through the problem that, every day going and creating a infrastructure required for the project is a big pain, and that pain will be converted into a solution and by using Terraform. So that's where, okay, so we'll always go by problem and not with the tool by tool. If I go with the tool by tool, I can teach Terraform, by the way, done. Okay, you're well good with Terraform. But if I need to integrate Terraform with Ansible, what is the best way? If I need to integrate with Terraform with the pipelines, what is the best way? So those all context you will lose, by the way.
Understood.
Okay. So that's where the tool-based learning is actually not the right way for this requirement, especially. So it may work for something else, by the way, that's fine. But overall, if you need to understand, so you need to take a problem, and that particular problem we try to solve through tools, by the way. So now Terraform, when I teach Terraform, to the left side, some scripting will come, some Ansible will come into Terraform inheriting, some pipelines will come. Okay. Kubernetes will talk a lot with Terraform. All this ecosystem will be built, by the way. That ecosystem comes only with the problem solving. I mean, talking about problems.
Understand. Thanks for the clarity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, upon completion of this course, so how many years of experience we can get in this?
It can go to 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay, so total I have 8 years experience, and actually the thing is I have career gap in about 1 year. So how can we cover this?
Yeah, you can
Right?
try.
Yeah.
You can.
Hello.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, how can do that?
I did not got it. Sorry.
So yeah, you said yes, right? So how can we do that?
By learning, right? So if you
Okay.
do you know that I know Azure?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you know that I know Azure?
yeah.
How do you prove, by the way, or how can I prove? You ask some questions, I'll answer.
No, I'm not talking about knowledge or anything. So how can we?
No, the interviews part also I'm talking about.
Yes.
Now, how do you go and appear to a market saying that you're already a working guy?
Yeah, okay.
I'll ask you some technical questions. You'll answer the technical answers.
Okay.
That's how you will do that.
Okay. So in this DevSec part, so will you going to teach an native DevOps, right?
Native.
You're not teaching like a designated DevOps, not Azure DevOps, right?
Oh, okay, that way. No, this is ADO is a tool. Don't just go with the words, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, ADO is a tool. So that is not Azure, that is not DevOps, by the way. So that is only one small part. Here we have GitHub Actions that ADO will come into picture. Only one, two.
Okay. So, I see that something called Argo CD and Helm charts. So those also will you teach because the one thing you have shown last that is you didn't mention in that way.
No, your voice is not clear. Maybe not sure.
Yeah.
Can you come again? What is your question? Argo CD?
Yeah, Argo CD you didn't mention in that some chart you have shown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also help charts and HCR vault. You did not pick that from that chart.
I did not pick.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
So what are the tools you are showing right now? So these all tools are covered in this course, right?
There's a Helm chart. There's a Argo CD.
Yeah, both. Yeah, my question is, so for the automation, if you come to the automation, so you have mentioned the 4 tools, right? Shell scripting, Ansible, Azure, and Terraform. So the 4 tools are covered with this course, for example.
No, all the tools is given as a list, right? So
Okay.
These all the things will be covered. What is your question? I did not really understand the core of your question.
Yeah, I'm getting the answer, no problem. So these tools are covered with hands-on project, right?
That's what I've been telling now.
Okay,
What is
okay.
the question? So just before your question also, I answer the same thing. We'll go from a project. Project will give problems. Problems we'll try to solve with all these particular tools. You will learn the project way of learning.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, how is the job market for Azure cloud? Like, is it similar to AWS?
Why do you need to ask me? Did you open it in internet?
Yeah, I know, but they say like Azure, sorry, AWS has a large market, right? So,
And there is a market, yes.
and one more thing. So, like, I'm in performance engineering right now with like 1 year experience. So, like, after this course, are we eligible for like cloud engineer SRE roles, or this is only specific to DevOps?
Any engineer role you can try. End of the day, it's the way that you work or the area you call it out. You work is basically been called with a certain naming convention. But yeah, so you can pick up SRE or DevOps. Anything is fine. Or platform engineer also you can try.
Okay.
Hey Raghu, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the presentation. Really looks good. I have a question, like, which is similar to Rohit. Like, why, as a user, like, why I should learn Azure, or I should learn like Azure and AWS both to fulfill my career? That's my main question. Like, what's the prominence of Azure over DevOps, AWS?
So there is no prominence, I would say, by the way. See, okay, do you hold a car, or do you hold a car? You own any car?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is the prominence for you to, okay, now every vendor is there giving 4 wheels, 1 steering.
Mm.
Now, what is the prominence that, you picked your vendor over the other vendor?
Yeah. Okay.
And why in the very first place, multi-vendors exist doing the same job?
Right.
So it's business, right? So
It's all depends on the company or the organization they choose for.
It's all
Right.
about business, by the way. So, okay, for some businesses, okay, so they more look towards wanted to do with the business with AWS, and some may want to go with Azure. So basically the requirement is the cloud is a requirement that companies are having, and
Yeah.
AWS or Azure is the leaders in the market in terms of let's consider that as a share perspective. Okay, so AWS and Azure are actually both are having a almost equivalent share. Azure goes just 1 or 2% lesser number, okay, over AWS, because AWS has 15 years history and these guys has, okay, at least these guys picked up mostly in the last 6-7 years only, majorly. Okay, but yeah,
Right.
AWS has a lot of market, but Azure pace is expected to increase more. Why? Because Azure had a lot of enterprise adoption more, by the way. So whereas AWS has a lot of companies who adopts majorly for a product-based development companies, but whereas you go with the business-based companies like a bank, or you go for, some manufacturing industry and things like that. So who are typically a big enterprise. So those guys majorly Microsoft can sell better, okay, than AWS. So that's where the pace almost, or the percentage usage came as equivalent as AWS by Azure in a very short time. Okay. Now, which one you pick it up is your choice, by the way. That's what I'm telling again, right? So why you bought your own car is your choice. Now here learning also, you have both the things. Now I can't judge ourselves, by the way. We've been teaching, we have been teaching AWS DevOps. Now Azure, we're seeing the demand. We're teaching the Azure DevOps as well. Now we are seeing that Google also is having the demand. This year we are launching Google Cloud with DevSecOps.
Right.
Okay, so we can't actually stop my personal choice will not become a point there. So companies are everything is truth, they're running. Now, which one you want to pick it up is your choice. Now, out of 100 roles you have in the software industry, Now I can ask you a question: why you picked the DevOps?
Mhm.
Right?
Right, right.
Yeah,
I get
it is the same thing, as simple as choice by company.
Okay, okay. One last question. Like, according to you, like, I'm new to DevOps, so if I could learn like both Azure and AWS parallelly, like, can I do that? Like, is it possible practically, or how's your perception?
So you go one after another rather than both at the same time, I would suggest. Okay.
Okay.
Why? Because I mean, for a learning, I think two things at the same time may be confusing. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because I am coming from one mindset. I will drive in my way of things, right? So
Right.
my driving of the things is in one style or one direction. Now, whereas other come, okay, they also trying to take you to the same goal, by the way, but they may take a different path of the different presentation, right? Now,
Right.
you'll always get confused about it. But you do one cycle, full cycle. If you do, then you'll understand. Okay, this is how you have to get there. Or this is what is the thinking. So until then, it's going to be a bit tricky. My suggestion is whatever, either you take AWS or Azure, you pick up one first,
Okay.
understand one, what is it really doing it. Then learning second one is all anyhow is a very easy thing. So not a big deal.
Sure, sure. Perfect. Yeah. Thanks, Raghu.
Yeah, hi Raghu, this is Desagar.
Yeah.
See, I have a doubt that means I need one project that whether anything will be covered from means I want to in practical I want to do from one project like Azure DevOps to GitHub Actions. I want to migrate to. Is there any project will be involved in the course?
That is also no need because you already learned GitHub Actions. You know how the tool over here it works, by the way. Now you go to the Azure DevOps, you're telling that you know Azure DevOps, so that's why you want to migrate to GitHub Action. Or you know GitHub Action, by the way. So by now looking at the ADO, so you will understand what is written there. So I think you will be able to do it, right? So do you really need a training for that?
Okay.
Do you
Okay.
got my point?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, as long as you clear a requirement on one side, by the way, so the other side you can always, so okay, this is what I'm looking for. And you will just from that dimension, you'll start looking at the ADO. You will understand, okay, this guy has written for this purpose. Then I'll copy. So one tool you already learned it. So the other one is also feature wise maybe different, but at the core, both are same tools only. And ADO only is a GitHub action, by the way, right? So I mean, ADO is nothing but GitHub action. It's just the modern version of ADO from Microsoft. Both are from Microsoft only. Since they picked up this GitHub action more, by the way, because it has a potential around open source community as well. So they are shifting mostly things to the GitHub side. I think ADO, they announced the retirement also. That's how it is. But both are same. Both are same.
Yeah, I am working in Azure GitHub Actions project only. That's it.
Okay.
Okay then. Thank you.
Hey Raghu, Samir here.
Yeah.
Raghu, before asking my question, let me tell you about something about my background. So I have been working with a multinational company that is a global bank. It's about 7+ years I'm working, and I'm working as a production support plus a Python developer. And I wanted to know because I'm feeling like a stuck in my current profile, and I'm feeling like I don't know where to go after this my current profile because I since last 2+ years I'm trying to switch my career, but I feel like stuck. So I wanted to know, as I'm from a background where I know Linux, and I know few like a JBoss and other web application hosting. So is it my so the DevOps will be the correct career choice from here because it's been 7 years I'm working in the IT sector. It may be like an unrelevant question, but I just wanted to know from your expertise what is the benefit of doing DevOps at this stage of my career. Will it be any helpful, or like
Yeah,
I should stick with what I'm doing?
yeah. No. See, you're actually mostly from the this role perspective, by the way. Okay. So
Okay.
okay, so you're doing a production support. Is a production support you're doing as a developer, only the support role that?
It's kind of both. I do Python scripting also, and we have 2 3 automation things like Bob Job Atosis also, and I'm writing Python scripts and cron jobs also.
So you're mostly from the support only, right? So maybe you're just
Okay.
using automation, as the autosys, jills and all. You have been okay calling through some. I mean, being
Okay.
called by Python or being autosys calling the Python kind of a code to do some job, right? So it's end of the day, I'm hoping
Okay.
it's production only, correct?
Yes. Yes. Correct. You can say that.
Okay. So then, yeah, that's what like you're actually from this role, by the way. So now someone is actually giving you a product, and so you're moving. I mean, you're trying to run it, by the way. So, but you better come on the engineering side. So you will understand more, by the way. And you have some certain advantages also here by shifting into this, especially in the same company. If at least if you target to go in, you get a full picture
Mm-hmm.
of what you have been doing and how the things are getting delivered to you. You connect the dots in a much better way, generally.
Okay. Okay. So now why my question so was there because I usually work on Python and SQL mostly, and production support you have your multiple user queries. It's uh, it's kind of new to me. I know Jenkins is there in my organization. I know GitHub is there, GitLabs we are using, and Git Actions also we are using, but I don't know that much. And I just got to know it's been 7 years I'm working, but just got to know about this DevOps thing like 6 or 7 months back. I am like feeling like stuck, so that's why I asked. Thank you for your
Yeah.
answer, Raghu.
Yeah. But by the way, like 6 7 months back only, you heard about DevOps means you're too much outdated, boss.
Yes, yes, yes,
You are
yes,
nowhere actually opening news also and understanding what's going on. Current trend also you're not looking. So
yes. That's agree. That agree. That is agree.
it's a proper
Totally
mistake.
agree.
And yeah, you have to adopt. You should. I mean, you should digest the. So what is the current trends going on? Okay, it's a
Yes,
responsibility of anyone, by the way. And you would have done it in a little bit earlier. That's okay, whatever it is, by the way. So I mean, just don't consider that you again. I mean, you open the door right now and you learn something, and again you close the door. It will not work out that way. So always keep your
yes,
doors
definitely.
open towards what coming in your path. You should learn and move on, or should understand and move on, adopt and move on. So that's where, yeah. So I think you have certain advantages, by the way. So by going into the DevOps engineer from production support, especially, so because you have a functional knowledge of how an application is working. Okay. So now when you're engineering
Yes.
it, it actually is a beneficial. By the way, yeah.
Yes, yes. So it's like it is due to a comfort zone only. That's what I can say.
Right.
The comfort zone made me this. Okay, thank you, Raghu, for your answer. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my query is previously like you have mentioned about platform engineering, right? But sorry, but like this is my first time hearing it apart from like DevOps engineer role and this cloud engineer role. So like I want to understand what exactly is a platform engineer and how is this course going to help with that role?
So Python is generally like someone was also mentioning. So for doing some automation, he's using Python, by the way. So your work will be there, some automation that you need to write it. So and end of the day, so you require some scripting language to do that. So Python is bit famous around this area. So that's how the Python, even as a
Yeah,
developer.
yes, yes. So I want to understand like what exactly is the platform engineer role?
So platform engineering is basically like you come to the platform side of, for example, you go for Netflix, like a company. So we talked about 1,000 microservices. Now 1,000 microservices are developed by, let's say, 1,000 development teams, just as an example, to keep it simple. So 1,000 teams has been developed, by the way. Now 1,000 teams, like all these features will be given to user as a one single website, which is called as netflix.com, right? So but not given as 1,000 different websites, right? So Netflix 1, Netflix 2, like that, it is not given, right? Services wise. So it is one netflix.com. Now there is a one backbone area where all these particular applications are hosting, irrespective of the ownership given. I mean to say, like, so not given the ownership. Now I have, let's say, 1,000 services. So to whom I have to give the ownership of Netflix.com? Everyone is maintaining only one.com, one microservices, one feature. Maybe I'm doing a login, one feature is coming, a movie suggestion, one feature is there. Like that, so many microservices are there. Now, whom I have to give the ownership of this Netflix.com? So there should be some team. Okay. And that's where the platform evolves. In big companies, platform engineer is a very common thing that you will do. But at the end of the day, you do with the same thing. So on the 1,000 microservices side, there is a DevOps engineer which is running, which is actually there to, okay, so do the work. And also on the platform side, also there is again an engineer, by the way. Okay, but he was more working towards, he was the one application service side. He was mostly working towards the application and release things. Whereas the platform engineer side, he's more working towards maintaining the infrastructure and running the infrastructure. So again, with the same tools, but his area of work is different.
Okay, got it. And also, this is my second query. So for automation, we've been discussing, like in the sheet, in the presentation you've been sharing. So we've been discussing about shell scripting and Python, right? So while doing the automation in this course, like which one will be we will be focusing? Like, is it Python or shell scripting?
No, I'm again repeating. So don't look from the tool context, by the way. If you have a tool context, it's always a black hole you're hitting. You always come from the requirement perspective. If your requirement is telling, okay, so something, now you will choose which is the right one, by the way. Right. So if I want to open a screw, by the way, if I'm coming from the context, okay, I want to remove a screw from the wall, I have different tools out there. Okay, now I have a hammer, I have a screwdriver. Now, if you don't know what you're actually removing, you don't have a context, I can break the wall also and remove the screw also. Possible, right?
Yes.
No? So that's why both are tools. Hammer is a tool and screwdriver is a tool. But you know a context, okay, so this is the requirement, okay, so then you study about the requirement. So then you go and simply use a screwdriver. And 1 minute you can do the job. So that's where your requirement should, would be deciding whether to go with a shell scripting or a Python scripting. It's not like, Python worldwide it is Python. No, you come from a requirement perspective, understand the requirement, and you pick up the appropriate one.
Yeah, understood. So in this course, like we will be learning both the scripting, right? Like Python and shell scripting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's about it.
Okay. You're on mute, Vinod. Hello. Your voice is very low.
So now is it fine? Is it fine now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, are we discussing anything like a cost reduction kind of thing? Anything, and tips and tricks will be telling at the end of the session, something, Raghu? So actually, I'm a developer, actually, full stack developer. So now I'm thinking to switch into DevOps role. As we know, the world is moving very fast, right? So new technologies, everything it is coming, right? Even in the DevOps role, there is a AI also integrating, actually. So I'm thinking to switch this career, actually. I'm a full stack developer with Python. So I'm front end and full stack developer. I am.
Okay. So your cost is about cost reduction.
Yeah, we expect, right? Even the companies also will be expecting, not like that. I mean, okay.
No, actually, no.
Okay.
You need to come out of this site. This is a decade back question, by the way. A decade back, this question exists. Okay.
Okay.
Why? Because enterprises are, companies are just paying the bills, and so it's this is, or let me put this way: this question is for small scale companies, very small scale companies. This question will come into picture. For a big
Okay.
companies, by the way, so this question won't arise, by the way, because you get the discount out of box. Okay. Now especially like, let's say in my case, by the way, so we are from one of the bank, and we cut a deal with Amazon in such a way that, okay, so Azure also we have, but with Amazon especially, we cut down a deal with that. How much I use it, I'll pay the same bill only.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you think I require so cost saving practices, all my engineering team to put towards cost? Is it needed? Okay.
No, actually.
Fine. So we did that also. For an year we ran a project, and we called it as cost saving project. So after a year we realized, by keeping some 4 or 5 people, very senior people, and all, we decided that we can't save anything. So then we flipped the dimension of the problem, by the way. So we directly went to Amazon and talked that, okay, hey boss, Amazon is very serious for in our business. What do you do for us? Okay, they came up with a plan saying that, okay, you do we'll give you a flat billing, and understanding all our load and all. So they have given one flat bill, negotiated, closed. Now there is no cost saving team. We written a book also. People are still studying, but we came out of that. Okay. So it doesn't go that way, or it's not going that way. At least I'm seeing now this is something which is happening in the market from quite some time. So they themselves directly give the cost saving methods. Yes, as as an engineer, you still need to have some context on the cost perspective, because you can't just go and run things just like that always. So you'll be having it, and those will be naturally addressed. I don't think so. It's super.
Okay.
Priority to be
Raghu.
given, especially. Yeah.
And one more thing, Raghu, like so as we know, like in the DevOps, mostly we work in the Linux and Bash scripting, right? Totally. So coming to skill shift topic, right? How it is same related to a project wise you are going to be teach, or how it is skill shift scripting wise. Actually, if you go to any tools, right? So we need to use the skill shifting only most of the time. Only a black window and a white text it will be there mostly, I hope, in the server side, what we are maintaining everything. So skill shifting, how we go, like that is related to project, or how, Raghu?
Yeah, every tool is with project only. Python, how easy it can learn, but it all changes based on the requirement, right?
Yeah, correct. Based
It
on the
also is the
modules,
same.
new tools. Yeah, correct.
Also same thing here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, coming to Jenkins, you're going to be provide, and so on replacing of Jenkins, what is the tool you're teaching, Raghu, for a pipeline?
GitHub Actions.
Okay, GitHub Actions. Okay.
Yeah. But along with some Jenkins, by the way, along with Jenkins, we have some other tools on some other verticals. We are building some videos. You will get access to those content as well, and you can learn from there, by the way. So not only to the Jenkins alternative you're talking, there's an alternative to the Argo CD also. There's an alternate to the JFrog Artifactory as well. Like every tool, it has an alternative. So we're building the project and content around other tools as well, and we wanted to give it as well. You will get it naturally. Yeah.
Okay, here we are discussing GitLab or Git only, right? Or GitLab also we are discussing.
No, here we are dealing with a GitHub. Since
okay, GitHub. Okay, right. Yeah, that's all my question.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? I see some questions on the chat. So the recording validity is lifetime. Yes, it is a lifetime. And I think job market, we already discussed about it. And what is the difference between Azure and AWS also we have discussed. Can't find mute and unmute option. So you need to raise the hand. And once you raise the hand, Pradeep, I will come to know that you have a question. Okay. So just click on, or else let me unmute you. You just need to raise hand and you wait for your turn, like I mentioned. Now you'll find an option, Pradeep.
Yeah, that was the question before I asked.
Okay.
which I asked before. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe. Do you still have any question?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. So, and also one other question I have seen is what is the prerequisite for this particular course? Okay. So prerequisite, we don't set up anything. So we'll start from the scratch, but you should learn what you are learning, or basically like you, as long as you have interest, by the way, you should be able to learn. So that's the major thing. Sorry, did I miss things? 1 second. Yeah. So as long as you're going and learning what I'm teaching, it is fine, by the way. Okay. So yeah. So prerequisites, no problem. So we'll start from scratch, no issues. I see a question, someone asking, can a BCom student learn DevOps? I think I'm not the right person to deal with that answer, by the way. Why? Because you're making a career choice. It has to be your choice. Okay. So please decide yourself or talking to the persons who know you better. If I am telling the things, it is like selling the course. Okay. So that's where I'm not the right person to answer this question. So education is to some companies it matters, but not to all companies. At least that much I can say. But yeah, so rest of the things is all about you pick it up and learn, and as long as you're capable and able to answer the things and do the things, so you get the opportunities to work on. Yeah. And also another question is so to the Azure, do we need to use paid subscription and things like that? Yes, you are going to create your own Azure account and you'll be paying to Azure to complete this particular course. On average, some $30 easily you have to pay per month to practice and proceed, by the way. So that's where a cost is involved. And yeah, we'll follow certain practices. How can we save cost and all that? Little bit cost and all, that's okay, but it's not come to the maximum extent also. But we'll follow those particular practices and we'll go with that. But yeah, so end of the day, we need to pay. Either you or me has to pay to the Azure. And I know that some questions will come like why are you not using free or something like that. These questions will come to me. So Azure Cloud, if I go in, so they go for so they'll tell you that I'll give you some 30-day free trial account, and so some services I'll give you for 1 year. It's all fancy only. Okay, don't get onto this trap. They don't give anything. Okay, so and we are dealing with a big project. We're not dealing with a hello world project and all. So it is going to be a bit serious one. So that's where it charges you. Yeah. Any other questions?
Hello. This is the question regarding when we are practicing, some doubts will be arrived, right? Regarding Q&A session where who will help us to solve that?
Your question is, do you have any specific that certain person only has to answer, or you're happy with the answer you get it?
No. When we are hands-on, right, practicing the lab, then some questions will be arrived, right? Like we will stuck somewhere.
Yeah, to address that only, we have a lab session, by the way. But do you have any preference that only a male has to answer, a female has to like that,
No.
or you're okay
No.
with anyone answering it?
Okay.
No, I'm just asking, taking it in a very general context of the things.
Okay.
You ask the question. There's a lab session. There's a team who is going to answer the question. I mean, that's why I'm asking is, do you have any preference? Only Raghu has to answer, or your question is you're happy?
No. I want to solve my answer. That's it.
So the team will be there. If they couldn't able to do that, they'll pull me. And end of the day, your question will be answered irrespective of who answers it. Your problem will be solved. We make sure we solve your problem.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, so there is a question on the chat. So every day it is the same options to mic, mute and unmute. Yes, because I mean, we have an agenda to cover. Okay, everyone. Okay, because you got a question right now. Maybe you're curious to ask your question, but maybe the topic wise, by the way, in the next 5 minutes, maybe I already answered your question also. I may answer your question already. Okay, so that's where considering those particular things, will be having a very short gaps asking about if there are any questions. Okay, but anyhow, whenever you have any question, you always raise the hand. And I mean, when I conclude certain point, actually, which I'm telling, so I'll go and pick up your question. At the same time, I will also give you take a very frequent gaps. By the way, today I think I have taken the so very large or very long critical content, and at the end I went for a questions. But the live sessions is going to be immediately after a small topic of whatever we talk about. We'll go through the questions. So just to make the organizing comfortable, because end of the day, like so we have to complete what is being committed also, right? So the time matters, a very important thing. So that's where certain questions will automatically addressed as well. So that's why, okay, we'll just go with a so little organized way, I would say. Yeah. Any other questions? Any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, from tomorrow, so we have the session starting in the same portal at 6 a.m. in the morning. Or if you don't have any questions, feel free to drop as well. I am done with most of my things, whatever I wanted to cover. I'll take a pause for the recording also. Anyone still have any questions? I can be there for some time. So if you have any questions, otherwise, feel free to drop as well. Okay, that's all from my side for today. Thank you. See you tomorrow.